MMA Now, powered by Film On TV Network.
I'm David Cannon with MMA Now TV, and right now we're on location in Youngstown, Ohio, with the one, the only Boom Boom Ray Mancini. How are you?
David, I'm well. Thank you.
And
thank you for coming to my hometown. I appreciate you making that trip.
we came all the way from the West Coast to see you.
It's the same thing. Same Santa Monica.
So it wasn't Mancini all the time. It used to be Mancino or Mancino.
Right. Mancino, right.
And it should be Mancini.
Right. But that's the Italian way. You say it right. But my birth name is Mancino. Mancino. Never changed. My father turned pro 1937. There's still Lenny Mancino. When he went to New York, his first fight in New York, which he moved to New York in 1939, the promoter put Lenny Mancini. He said, no, my name's Mancino. And they go, no, Mancini. Sounds better. Flows better. So when he won, he kept winning, became a favorite at the Broadway Arena in Brooklyn, became a big fan favorite. So from then on, it was Lenny Mancini. And then even when he retired, he came back to Youngstown, he put it in a phone book under Mancini because if anybody would come from out of town to look him up, they'd look under Mancini. So I'm Mancini, Mancino. Both are my name. My professional name is Mancini. I pay taxes in both. I've traveled for years, but now I have to make sure that the ticket says Mancino so it matches my license and my passport. But it's always my kids are known as Mancini, so like I said, they're both the same.
And what a lot of people don't know is Boom Boom actually came from your father, who was a #1 contender.
Correct. My father was given that nickname in 1939 by the promoter of the Broadway Arena in Brooklyn. Max Joss was his name. And Max Joss said to a reporter, look at this guy. He does nothing but keep coming, throwing punches all the time. Boom, boom, boom all the time. Next day, Lenny Boom Boom Mancini.
And let's talk about boxing right now. It's the state of boxing. A lot of people think that it's going away. It's calling it a dying sport. I go back and forth when sometimes I think MMA has obviously risen, but for big fights that are good, it seems to bring back that same pugilistic fan fever. But now with the Mayweathers going, and it looks like Pacquiao is on his way out, there's not a lot of household names outside of Canelo, and even Cotto's drawing to the end of his career.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. Boxing, the difference, look, when I fought in the 80s, I'm not saying because it was me, I was just very proud to be part of that generation, the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. And most people recognize, most experts will tell you that was the best time for fighting in the last 50 years. Why? Because network television got involved. Now, when I was fighting on CBS, I was exposed to over 60 million people domestically, over 100 million people worldwide. Now, with pay-per-view, I think they said there's 30 million homes capable of pay-per-view. If you get a 2% buy rate, which they consider a success, that's only 500,000 people. That's it. So I know the names of a lot of fighters, but I don't buy every pay-per-view fight because a lot of them are not worthy of a pay-per-view fight. Back in the day, when I was fighting, pay-per-view was Ray Leonard fighting Tommy Hearns. Ray Leonard fighting Roberto Duran. Larry Holmes fighting Jerry Cooney. Ollie Frazier. Those were pay-per-view fights back then. Now they got every guy. That's when both guys were part of that deal. Both guys had to be able to attract enough attention. Now they do that, what they call the A side, the B side. So if you get Canelo, he fights, guy from the Liam Smith. Good fighter, I'm sure, but no name. So I didn't buy it. So, even Golovkin, and it's not Golovkin's fault. Golovkin's called everybody and anybody out. Ain't nobody answering the door. He's called everybody out. So when he's fighting the guys, but I watch him. But most of the fights are on HBO, but and he's fighting guys because he's smart enough to know that the guys he's fighting aren't pay-per-view names. So now that he's called out Canelo, and Canelo says, I'm Mexican, we're going to fight, I'm blah, 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 after he beat Liam Smith. Great. Why wasn't the fight made? That fight was in June. Why wasn't the fight made for this November?
His promoter, people are saying his golden boy. That's
sure
not like
no, sure it is. Look at the fight now. When they offered Canelo and Golovkin, Triple G. That fight should be made. That fight should be made for this fall. Now they're talking a year. That was in June. Then they started saying, well, in November of 2017. What happened to November 2016? That fight could have been made. They said it needs more time for promotion. No, it don't. Leonard and Duran one was in June. The rematch was in November. It takes 3 months. It don't take 3 years. It don't take a year. 3 months. I know that promotion game. If you want the fight bad enough, then make the fight. The tickets go on sale. Boom, people are buying it. You don't need a year and a half to promote the fight. That's Golden Boy's way of saying we want to milk this cow for as long as we can till he gets beat. That's all it is. But it's Canelo as a fighter. How do you allow that? Now, granted, he's a heck of a fighter. I'm not. But I know people say, "Oh, but the promoters, you got to stick with your promoter." No, you're the fighter. The fighter dictates. Nobody, any fighter out there will tell you, I'm the fighter. I run the show. If you really want to fight, you tell the promoter, make that fight. It'll get made. When Ray wanted to fight Tommy, they told Bob, make that fight. And they made the fight. Bob and Manny got together. You know, Ray and Tommy talked, said, let's make the fight. Make the fight. Even when Leonard fought Duran was being promoted by King. Everyone said, oh, Bob, Aaron, and King don't. But both Bob Arum and Don King, even though they cared for each other personally, understood it was good business for that fight to happen. So that fight was made. Anybody says otherwise, this fight should have been this November. That should be the next fight for both guys. And the only reason it's not is because of a Golden Boy. And it's a sad state. If I'm the fighter and I really believe I can beat the guy, I'm saying make that fight happen. If I really believe I can beat him.
So what you're saying is it's a two-way street. It's part Canelo, part the promotion.
Of course it is. The fighter dictates. Now, they may say to you, but it makes better business if we wait 3 or 4 months. Great. 3 or 4 months. Not another 17 months. Another year. That makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's not better business. All that means you're going to have a fight in the meantime. What could happen? Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Why would you wait? Why would you chance it? The biggest fight right now is you two. Everybody wants to see it. And the other guys called you out every which way. How are you gonna say, how are you gonna be as hey, look, he's the biggest Mexican star, but even the Mexicans now are making fun of him. And that's part of him allowing it, and for his promotion, not telling his promotion, Golden Boy, to make that fight. Now you're being made fun of by your own people, who you're their hero. Because now they're saying that you're sidestepping it. They know that you don't want to fight the guy, or you're coming off. The assumption is you don't want to fight him. Why would you allow that assumption to be out there? Make it happen.
So why did it take 5 years for Mayweather and Manny to get done?
Exactly, it's the perfect example of why it's one that long overdue, way past its prime, and they did it because everyone thought Manny, being Manny, be able to be, and Mayweather being who he is, everyone wanted to see him get beat, but he worked it perfectly. He waited till Manny got a little older. I never thought Manny would beat him 5 years before, when they were supposed to talking about the fight happened in 2009. I thought Manny ain't gonna beat him then. People said, "Oh my God," because he was knocking everybody out. I said, "Why? Why do you say that?" I said, "Because Mayweather's bigger, faster, stronger. That's a trifecta in boxing. He's bigger, faster, stronger. People don't realize how strong he is. Physically, he's a strong kid. Manny's quick. He ain't quicker than Mayweather. Manny's strong. He ain't stronger than Mayweather. He's fast. He ain't faster than Mayweather. How's he going to beat him? He ain't. The only thing is it would have been a better fight, because Manny would have been able to find his range, because Manny couldn't find his distance. He was short on so many punches, and Floyd moved around. Maybe at that time, Floyd might have been more ambitious and got a little, stood toe-to-toe with him more, or tried to make more of a fight of it back in 2009. But either way, the fight was long overdue, and it hurt boxing more than it helped it. The ticket prices they asked for killed it, and of course, we know that the fight was stung to joy out. So this is why that should be the perfect example, the perfect reason why you don't let this. They say, we got to let it marinate. No. This fight's marinated. It's been cooked. It's close to being overcooked. Make the fight now.
If this was in the 80s and even early 90s, would these fights have been done?
It would have been done. Because at that time, if you didn't, people they'd drop you the rankings, and the people would have dictated, or if not, then you get bumped out of the ratings, and the promotion and the networks would tell you, make it now, or we won't put you back on. I'll put you back on.
a hypothetical, Mayweather calls himself the best ever.
Well, delusional, but that's okay.
I've been critical in the fact that I call him the best defensive boxer of all time and the smartest boxer of all time. But as a pure boxer, I don't put him.
See, that's okay. See, David, you'd have to be ready to fight because the best defensive fighter of time. What happened to Pete Whitaker? He ain't a better defensive fighter than Pernell Whitaker. So I don't agree with that. Say he's the, would you say smartest fighter?
The smartest.
Smarter than Ray Leonard, smarter than Roberto Duran, smarter than Joe Louis, smarter than
Well, because he doesn't get hit. That's the thing.
Because he ain't fighting. Because they're fighting you. They're fighting. They're actually trying to fight you, make a fight of it. He don't get hit. You always hear saying, "Oh, you gotta have a good defense." Defense is never ever in the history of boxing ever won a guy a title. It's offense. Someone's you. You gotta hit the other guy. That's offense. That ain't defense. So no matter how good a guy's defense is, he still better have a good offense. He's a special fighter. I never said he's not. He's the best of the 12-round era. The best of the 12-round era. Best of all time? No, not in this lifetime. I said top 30 maybe. Top 30. Because I can name. You think? What do you think would Kid Gavilan would have done with him? Kid Gavilan, Ray Robinson couldn't knock out. Went to war with him. What would you think Kid Gavilan would have did with Floyd?
Well, what about some of the guys? If you put hypotheticals, Mayweather versus, and I know we can never do it, but Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hitman Hearns, Duran, and you brought up Benitez.
Benitez, those are the four. People think Hagler. Hagler was a middleweight. He wasn't the four welterweights at the top were Ray, Tommy, Roberto, and Benitez. I think Roberto beats him because he's just too mean. He would have found a way. You know, like Floyd likes to give you the side. Duran would have made him pee blood for a month if he'd turn aside like he does with that defense. And Roberto's just was smart, man. You see what he did in the first fight against Ray. I mean, that was Roberto. Roberto he would have figured him out, and he would have figured him out and beat Floyd. Tommy would have stretched him. Tommy, to me, I would have been an easy fight for Tommy. Guy staying on the outside. Tommy, forget about it. You have to come out on Tommy and close the distance. Floyd would never done. That would have been easiest. I think Benitez. I'm not saying beats him, but Benitez would have had him talk to himself. He think he was a better defensive fighter than Benitez? I don't think so. Benitez was one of the best defensive fighters of all time. So that would have been a chess match. To me, the closest fight it would have been Ray Leonard because Ray and him were so comparable, talent-wise, style-wise, skill-wise. They're very comparable. But he would never beat Ray. Why? Because Ray had a mean streak in him that this kid don't have. Ray wanted to close the show. Ray wanted to embarrass you. He wanted to annihilate you. He didn't want you to finish on your feet. This kid will slap you around for 2 rounds, but he ain't going to finish. He ain't going to close the show. Ray would have closed the show.
I know you guys are different weight classes, but how would have Boom Boom approached the fight?
Well, Floyd was a lightweight at one time. I did fight lightweight. But, I would never say, but Floyd's a special fighter. There's no doubt. The only way you beat Floyd is close the distance. You got to pressure him. I'm a pressure fighter. Pressure negates a lot of things. Pressure negates speed. Pressure negates quickness. You got to be up. But Floyd was a special fighter. But I don't know. Defensive-wise, yeah. But I would have been going for that body. I wouldn't have been going for his head. As soon as I touched that body and got inside, maybe I'd have tried some headshots. But I'd have banged that body until later rounds and see how, I'd have tried to take the gas out of the tank first. Slow that car down a little bit before I, went to work on it. But that's what I would have done. You bang that body and just keep digging that left hook in the liver and kidneys and that's all. I mean, but he's a special fighter and he'd be a headache for anybody.
And so you mentioned earlier about Canelo and Triple G that boxing is losing the allure. Is it because fighters are not fighting each other? Is that why these stars are falling off?
Oh yeah, of course. The fighters are the best fighters aren't fighting each other. As they should. That's the whole idea of boxing. That's what Golden Boy said. We're going to have the best fighting the best. I got Triple G is considered the best. I think my guy's the best. But let's wait a year and a half to make that happen. Please, that's an embarrassment. The fact that Canelo allows it, I've lost a lot of respect for that. You should demand it. You stay talking in the ring about what grande huevos you got and being Americano fighters. Grande huevos didn't make the fight. That's how you show how you got grande huevos. Jesus, man.
And so, but there's also been talk about like Floyd Mayweather coming back to take on Conor McGregor, and Floyd said he started the rumors, and he's taken part in this. What does this is that disrespect to boxing and MMA, or how do you feel?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, it's, you could talk about it. I remember when but in one respect, it's nothing new. They talked about it back in the day when MMA first started, when the Ultimate Fighter started, and when they were coming over and Royce Gracie won it 3 years in a row or something, and that's when they had multiple fights during the same day. So, Royce and Rorion Gracie, his brother, of course, put out a challenge to Mike Tyson. That Mike challenged Mike about fighting Royce in a no holds barred, and of course Mike turned it down because he can't benefit, because if he beats Floyd's Royce is what, $180, $170, and and then if he got a chance to get choked up, oh my God, so it was a no-win situation, and Mike turned it down, but that's how they did it. So for McGregor to get Floyd to agree, I mean, that's stupid. No, McGregor got no shot against him if it's a boxing match, but Floyd's got no shot against if they're going to go MMA.
It would be boxing, though. That's what it would be.
That's just stupid. And if Floyd beats him, knocks him out, so what? You beat a guy who's not a boxer. You beat a guy who's an amateur boxer. So Floyd would be fighting a guy that's not his forte. That's not his main strength. His main strength is MMA. Floyd is a boxer. If you want to do a boxing match, he's destroy McGregor. If they go to MMA, go to the mat, McGregor's going to destroy Floyd. But all know that. That's why you each have our skill set. We all know what our genre is.
A lot of boxers are saying if Conor would get into a straight boxing match, they think Floyd would knock him out.
Yeah.
Even though he's not known to be a knockout.
No. You don't have to. You don't have a guy. Well, MMA guys ain't known for taking a bad shot. I mean, really, they get tapped on chin, and it's like all over the joint. Floyd hits hard enough for this guy or anybody. He hit tap that chin, they're gonna go. Boxer, he's not knocking boxers out because we're used to getting hit. You tap an MMA guy, he knocked McGregor out. Of course he did. No, of course he would. If it was a straight boxing match.
You're a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, something that I didn't know until recently. So you're hip to the whole MMA scene.
Yeah.
Is that dangerous for someone to have a boxing background and a ground game as well?
Well, it's the only way for me, the reason I got into the sport is because I wanted I wanted to train a different way. And I knew my friend Eddie O'Neill was training with Rorion Gracie, and Eddie was a brown or purple belt at the time. Now he's a black belt. And he talked me into it. I said, yeah, I'd like to try. I wanted to learn something different. And plus, the main reason is I didn't want to have no 18-year-old kid choking me out in the street. Because 9 out of 10 times you're going to dirt in the street. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to, I was getting in beefs with people, driving. You get a lot of these bad drivers that are, yelling and screaming at you. And I yell and scream back and stupid stuff like that. And so I said, well, I better learn something different. And that was a craze, of course. And so I did jiu-jitsu and did it for 13 years. And I got the purple belt, I think, on contribution to the sport. But I got that. I ran around like I won the world title. I think I was as proud of that as I was of winning the title. I haven't trained, I haven't rolled for about 2 or 3 years now because my body feels too good. That's the fact that my body feels too good. And I got a lot of injuries and stuff, and I'm not going to tweak them now, man. But I just want to remember, God forbid, if I got to go in the street and I got to go to dirt, I remember something. And 9 out of 10 times, even Hanato Magno, my trainer, and told me, he said, Ray, you hit any of us, you're going to knock us out. He said, but if you have to go to dirt, I'm going to help you out. I'm just hoping that I don't have to go, get to that point. Hopefully I could talk my way out of it. What I admire most about jiu-jitsu, what I admire the most is the philosophy about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And the philosophy is, you ain't got to win every fight. Ray, you ain't got to win every fight. Just don't lose it. And that's what I admire about the philosophy. Meaning, if I could tie you up, we're rolling around, and I could, I'm controlling you, and I could, restrain you. We're, I can't do nothing, you can't do nothing. Okay, hey man, good luck to you. You go your way, let me go mine. That's the kind of thing. Maybe it could just dissolve a situation, and maybe if we're start to go and I see someone say, hey man, you know what, forget it, man. Good luck to you, good luck to me. That's the thing. The philosophy is you ain't got to win every fight. Just don't lose it. So if I can neutralize you, and you can, that's the best. The best thing is not to have to go. If we can, talk it out. But them days are gone. I ain't talking to nobody either. I got it. But That's the idea. That's what I admire about the philosophy of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. First, that's the best. Don't have to win every fight. Just don't lose it. And that thing, if you go with that philosophy, it's okay. I ain't got no ego no more.
Youngstown, Ohio is where you're from, and I don't know if it's with any other state that has a lot of more pride than Ohio. I mean, there might be some more, but as far as putting it out there, for instance, Stipe Miocic, he just won the UFC heavyweight championship, and he yelled OHIO. I didn't even know I don't know what letters. I had to Google what is he saying, and he comes out so pro Ohio and represents it, but I don't see other fighters that are saying, "Oh, you see the Brazilians representing Brazil," but someone that representing their own state. Is that an Ohio thing?
Well, it is, but here's what you say. You keep saying the state of Ohio. It's more of the northeastern Ohio. Cleveland, Akron, Canton, Cleveland, Youngstown. That's northeastern Ohio. We think and do things a little different than they do in Dayton and Toledo. Really, it's really a diverse state. Probably the most diverse state in the union is Ohio. Because, you go to South, Cincinnati, it's the border of Kentucky. It got some good old boys down there. How y'all doing and stuff like that, And you got Toledo, Dayton, you got some real white bread, middle America people. I don't mean disrespect when I say white bread. I mean middle America. Northeastern Ohio, it's still very ethnic. Youngstown, the diversity, we were the second biggest steel producing city in the world. So Pittsburgh was on, we were two. But there were the steel mills and the fabricating plants all up and down, from Youngstown to Cleveland, Canton, through Canton and Akron to Cleveland. So the diversity of the people. We have a large Croatian and Serbian community in northeastern Ohio, which he is, part of. And so the fact that they have an appreciation and a newfound love for Ohio is a wonderful thing. And of course, being Buckeye, Ohio State Buckeye fan, OHIO, that's the fight, right? So that's the Buckeye song, it's the Buckeye fight song. So, but here's another thing. We have Youngstown here, the city of Youngstown. We're the only city of our size in the country that I know of that had 7 world champions. Me being the first, Harry Arroyo, Greg Richardson, Jeff Lampkin, and then Kelly Pavlik. Only the city of our size to have, that many champions in one spot. So that's significant. So I think, a lot of good fighters in Cleveland, a lot in, Akron, Canton. That's different than other parts of the state too, So I just think it's where we come from. This part of the state is it's the most diverse ethnic wise from anywhere in the world. They come from all over the world because years ago the parents, grandparents, great grandparents came here to work in the steel mills, but now it's other things.
UFC 205 is coming up soon in New York. The first time MMA has been sanctioned in the state of New York, and they're going to be insuring the brains of the fighters for $1 million. The UFC is paying, I believe it's around $1,300. Boxing promoters, there was Lou DiBella, said, well, now I have to cancel some fight cards because they want us to do it for boxing. We can't afford it.
Right.
Should promotions be responsible for insuring fighters' brains?
Should promotion? I would think each fighter should be responsible for it. I had my own insurance. Should they insure what goes on in the ring, as far as injury or things like that? Yeah, then the promoter carries insurance. But for insuring the brain, no, I don't think so. I mean, it's killed in the sport, and he's pulled out. There will be no fights in New York this year. MMA can afford that. Now, if they started out the first couple of years, would they have done it? No, they couldn't afford it. Not that it's a $4 billion industry. Well, of course, why wouldn't you? But it's going to hurt the game down the road, and it's going to hurt. I mean, promoters can't do that. To keep the fighters alive. Joe DeGuardia, another one from New York, Lou DiBella, none of them. They're not going to be able to do it. So they're going to have to get on the road for the fighters. Instead of making them, their hometown heroes, local heroes, and letting them fight in their backyard and build up their fan base, they're going to have to be road warriors.
Ronda Rousey is coming back in December, and she said this will be one of her last fights. And Dana White has often said that if a fighter doesn't have it in them, that they shouldn't go out and fight because this is a different type of animal. Do you agree with those thoughts?
Well, absolutely. If she don't have it, she says she want to fight. She already knows that. She's already known that she's looking to shut it down. I think, yeah. I mean, that's how you get hurt. That's how you get hurt because now you're doing it strictly for the money, not for the right reasons. You're doing it for the money, and that'll get you hurt. If she fights someone who's hungry and willing to bite your nose off for $1.25, that's why she was when she started out. I'm sure, not now. And that's like any fighter. Once your belly's full, well, the hunger is gone. You got to be hungry as a fighter. If your belly's full, how can you be hungry?
And last, Conor McGregor has helped rise UFC and MMA along with Ronda. Do you see UFC? Are you surprised it's worth $4 billion? And are you surprised it's surpassed boxing per se?
I was surprised the marketing about it was really, they got the $4 billion was the marketing aspect of it. They did a phenomenal job. The Fertitta brothers, and Dana. I know Dana is terrific. He did what he did. I don't agree. It's never going to be bigger than boxing. Worldwide, boxing's there's 6 top pay-per-view events, 10 pay-per-view. 6 of the top 10 pay-per-view events of all time are boxing, and will continue to be boxing. So it can't compete, but on a regular basis, it's beating boxing up pretty good.
Boom, boom. Ray Mancini, thank you so much for the time.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
My pleasure, David. Thank you.